Hi. Okay, so this was Tunbridge class Monday a week ago, I think it was. I've lost track of the date. I'll put that on the thing. Couldn't find anywhere to film it, so we're filming it outside again. I don't know if you've come across any of our outdoor videos before, but we do this occasionally. Anyway, so the class was all to do with wraps, leg wraps, swivels, and sweeps to come into wraps. So we'll break it down kind of as we did in the class, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so what we started with just making sure we were okay with pivots. So we'll do this from a couple of angles so you can see what happens. So we started off, little side step and a block. We then did a pivot, making sure that the leader is leading with the frame, not with the arms. You want to make sure, leaders, that you're leading with your frame. The twist is all coming from the waist and the hips aren't moving. So you're twisting your partner from the waist and the shoulders and the upper torso, not from the arms. And the way that you see this works is she ends up nicely on axis the whole time. It's not so easy doing it on grass, we get caught occasionally. If I do this from the arms, you see she goes off axis, so you'll soon know if it's happening. If the follower is going off axis doing a simple pivot, it's the leader's fault. Okay, so part two. We then forgot about pivots for a second. Oh, I was going to do that the other way around, wasn't I? So. Yeah. So followers, make sure you're keeping your ankles together during the pivot. That you're not pivoting like that, you're pivoting with your feet together. Yeah? Dug a hole. Okay, so next one was actually we'll do this just from this angle so you can see. We did a side step, and then because my weight's on my left foot, her weight is on her right foot. When we descend, the free foot stays straight. Obviously, if the floor is smoother and not at an angle, this is a lot easier. But the idea is that as you go down, the free foot stays straight. Yeah? You know you're going out sideways, followers, because that's the default. If I wanted her to go away from me with the projection, I'd lead a little bit of a forward as I started it, so a little bit of energy, and then go down. So if I wanted her to go forward, we didn't actually do this in the class, but a couple of people asked me about it, so I thought I'd better mention it. By default, we end up going down sideways. But if I lead her forwards, she'll start to project backwards anyway. So we can then go that way. Yeah, so that's how you choose which direction you're going. Okay, so after the projection, we then looked at pivoting in that projection. So now we're combining the first bit with the second bit. Project. Now we don't turn, we're using that as a little bit of a brace. My weight's all on my left foot, but that's just stopping me turn. Yeah, so again, body twist created the sweep. Followers, you're down, that's how we're leading it, leaders. We go down, we stay down, we then, with the upper body, lead the rotation. That sends her into that pivot sweep. And then when she's come back, we then bring her back up and you both collect. Again, we'll do it facing this way. On a normal floor that's a bit more polished than this one, you want to keep your toe on the ground during the sweep, so you're not raising the toe up off the ground. It gives you a bit more balance and looks a lot more stylish if it's not sort of sweeping up and down.
Keep it neat.
Keep it neat, yes, exactly. And you're trying to keep your your big toe on the ground for the sweep, not the whole foot, not the flat of the foot, not any other combination. It's the big toe, so you're sort of extending the line and then you're doing the sweep, and it works like that. Okay, so then we moved on to actually turning this into a little wrap. And wraps kind of happen at all different heights, but it's all dependent on the amount of energy and the amount of lift that the leader creates, and then how the follower interprets that. So what we'll show you the two different types. Sorry, bugs. We'll show you the two different types. So we start off, little amount of energy, small wrap. Do it again. Yep. Next, we're then going to do the bigger wrap. Yeah. And the difference being is the amount of energy I put into it. So I started off with the simple wrap, the low one, blocking, twist, and then just wrapping largely at the same level. There's a little bit of a dip, but not much. The bigger one, I dip quite a lot and then lift as I do the wrap, and that encourages the follower to lift the leg. Now it's kind of up to her how far she lifts. So if we can do a couple of different heights of the high one.
So I do one?
Yep. So that's a sort of middle height one. Or a really high one. Yeah, so that bit's up to the follower as to how she interprets the signal. And that'll be based on what's going on around you, how comfortable she is with balance and height and leg lifts and things. So leaders don't expect that the more energy you put in, you can eventually get her to put her arm above your shoulder, her leg above your shoulder. There's a limit. It doesn't matter how much energy you put in. But so, a bit more energy and leave it up to her. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but always remember, you're dancing with a lady.
Exactly, yes. Right, we'll show you that from this angle as well, so you can see the difference. And you see, as I'm getting her out of it, I'm not just abandoning her up there. So even in this, where we're just demoing it, I start, I sidestep, whoops, grass. I start, I sidestep, we get in there, take her up there, and then unhook and straighten, put her down, and then we can separate. If you just abandon your partner in a high lift, that's going to be a problem. So, the lead, wrap, lift, and she'll wrap in. You're now slightly past your center line, so you're keeping that wrap. Unhook, take the foot out of the way, and lower. Yeah?
Don't just stay there.
No, don't just stay there. Lifts, wraps like that are supposed to be transient. Unless it's right at the end of the dance where you're sort of sustaining on the last note. What you really want is in and out, and however you want to come out. You don't want to be holding on to it. And leaders, if you do hold on to it for the last note, be sure you've counted correctly, because I've done that before now, and you get in there and you think, it's the last note, and then you've got 2 bars to deal with. So count well the music and go into it. But yes, a bit more sustain right at the end, no problem, but
When you know that you know the track.
when you know the track, exactly, yes. Right, so there was one last option which we added in, which was a sort of double gancho in the middle of this. At speed, it looks like this. There we go. So the hook is created by the wrap. So we'll break it down. So it'll be some ungainly exits as we come out of this to start with. So a higher version of the wrap, and then go into the gancho. So we wrap in, we step in, we wrap, and go into the gancho. Yeah? If you remember last week's Volcada class, by the way, for all of these wraps and things, you might find that for balance, when you're doing those wraps, you wrap in, you step forward, you may need to just shuffle that foot back an inch or a couple of centimetres and just say you've got a bit more room, because sometimes you do the step and everything's very crowded and she's really close up to you. So you might find that you want to sidestep, wrap in, shuffle that back a little. So it's just that foot moving back a tiny bit. Yeah, so anyway, where were we? We were looking at the double gancho. So, wrap in. I'm going to shift that foot back a little. Wrap and lift. My weight is all on my left, so I can do that. We're kind of supporting each other, but not really at this point. It's more for balance. We're not really leaning on each other like a Volcada, but there is a bit of connection, a bit more connection than there would normally be. So. And then, after having lifted up high, I then open out and unhook my heel from her, and then sweep around into a sandwich. I can then walk out of the sandwich as I normally would. Now we need to do that from several angles so you can see where the feet are going. So I unhook, go to the outside of her foot, sweep into the sandwich. I haven't moved my feet yet, then I walk forwards to collect, change the weight and go. Yeah? That gets us both back on the same foot. So once more from this direction. Yep. So there's lots of options, and on flatter ground it's easier to make a neater exit. Anyway, hope that was useful. Wraps, double ganchos and sweeps and things.